Hey, this is Ed with RunDiffusion. We did an awesome walkthrough on our community day of how to use region control to make a badass mech walking through a cityscape. We had a lot of fun with this one. Hope you like it. The general process here is we're going to basically do a prompt collage, and that's how you can think of region prompting is sort of a collage of different images that are being generated by Stable Diffusion and pieced together. Now, I will say with multi-diffusion, it's pretty raw. Like, this is kind of like in painting five things at once. And if you've tried any in painting before, you kind of know how that goes, right? It's like you don't always get the best results. It's kind of mix and match. So we're going to try to see the best we can do here. And then the ultimate idea is that you want to image it afterwards to get a consistent theme. So the first thing is that we're going to do is we're going to have these regional prompts, right, which are going to be all these little boxes like you see on the image for this event. And the goal is to piece them all together. In order to do that, any prompt you enter in the top will be cascaded across every region. So it's very important, that you have a prompt that doesn't have anything specific in it. If I want to put a giant robot in this city, I need to not put the giant robot in the overall prompt. Otherwise, it's going to appear everywhere. So then we're going to put in the negative prompt here. Resolution wise, it still has the constraints of the original base model. So you can't necessarily generate giant images with this. And the reason why is when you use this region prompt control, it doesn't use the tiling. So there's no tiles. So that's very important because that means you can't do those giant images. You have to do that afterwards in the image to image tile piece. But if you're just generating it like this, off the get-go, even if you enable tile diffusion, it's not going to use these tile settings. So these do nothing. All it's going to do is use that kind of same technology that's doing the tiles, but instead it will do the regions that you specify. So you can, get pretty large images because it's kind of pieced together from these multiple regions, but just know it's going to struggle a bit because it still has those normal constraints of the model itself. So I'm just going to work on a pretty consistent one, which is around this height and width, and we can mess around with it later as we're going through it. So the first way to do this is you can generate each region one after the other and then put them all together. And you start by, you want to draw full canvas background. You want to enable that. And you click Create Text to Image Canvas here. And we're going to start with our first region. So we're going to start like this. And let's get a nice prompt in here for the city. Now I don't need to put a negative because it will automatically go in there. But I could put like mech robot so it doesn't have that in there. And that will add it to the negative prompt that's already there. So we're going to get all of this prompt here added to this background prompt. Okay, so now what I can do is I've got seed -1, and I can just generate a few images here. And we can take a look. So we've got a couple here. Now this one didn't end up good at all, right? Because it ended up with this half and half. That means it was trained on this dual image thing. Here we've got the city in the sky, right? Which is pretty funny. But overall, I like the composition of this one. And then we've got this like kind of distance shot. And these artifacts of like the city in the sky are coming from the fact that it's too large. So if I shrink it down a tad, and I can grab this seed here.
Up a little bit. Oh yeah, there you go.
So you see you've got region 1, enable, prompt, negative prompt, and then you've got the seed for that region. Don't want to call that number. Thanks, Chrome. So down here, we just put that seed in there, and now it will choose this image. So if we just generate one right now, let's see what it looks like a little shrinked. Still got buildings in the sky.
A little bit better, but those buildings are still there, huh?
I'm just going to put sky buildings in as a negative.
Kind of buildings.
Let's see. I mean, it's a sci-fi landscape, so you can get away with some funny things, right?
Yeah.
Oh well. Let's leave it in there for
Maybe we
now.
go with it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
could obviously keep running some generations
It's
and
not
find a
bad.
better one.
Oh,
But
well,
actually,
there's
that
this. There's
oh,
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
you
well,
got a
let's
floating
shrink it
city.
like one more and just try that. Because what we want is, this is like, again, the composition tool, right? Think of it as like your cut and paste collage. Okay, now
I mean,
it's a
if you
cloud. So
that
this,
does look
this is
better.
perfect. Okay, so we have the seed for the background locked in. And now we want to put our mech in. So we go to region, go enable region. Now everything after this first region is going to be foreground. And when you do foreground, you get this feather option. And so the higher the feather is, the more the image will stand out from the background. And feathering is just like
Kind of
reducing
like a
the,
blend or like a blur.
yeah, blend.
Yeah.
And if you keep in mind that if I generated, like, let's say a spaceship in the sky there, and I put a high feather, there will be a square box around the spaceship because it's not feathered into the background. So you can play around with the feather, get something pretty cool. So what we're going to do
Isn't
now
that
is,
how some people are doing those comic book strip things? That's what I've seen, where
oh yeah,
they
yeah, definitely.
literally like square those off and then you can create comic book tiles.
Yeah, yeah, you
I've
could
seen
definitely
those
do that
online.
with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great tool for that. So we've got our mech. Okay, so I'm going to put this prompt in here. I'm going to try to like reduce the amount of buildings. One of the problems I was running into with the feathering was like the mech would blend with the buildings. So we don't want it to be part of the buildings. I have a Laura here, which is big stompy robots that we're going to try. And
That's a cool one.
yeah, and I'm putting it in this region only. So if we go up here, we can see our region
Oh,
is
that's
pretty
cool. So you
tiny.
can put different Lauras in different regions. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I learned that from
Actually, I mean,
a
of course you
detailer.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do embeddings, you can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you can. Not
Oh,
models though.
no, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
Maybe
so
we have to
now
be. Who knows?
we've got the seed, and we can do like a batch of four and just see what we get. So now it's going to generate same background, four different robots. Let's check the other one, the first one that came out of the oven here. Okay, so you can
Hmm.
see the square, like maybe we have to adjust the feathering a little bit. It's kind of cool. This one, like it did a good 512 by 512, but it didn't, it changed, even though the seed was there, it changed things. So there's our original image. We want it more like that. But you can see even with the original image, it's going to change as it's like adding in these other details. But I would say in regards to like the perspective and the character size, these are quite good. Like the shadows here are nice and everything. It's just we have to, mess around with it a bit to really get that detail in. So yeah, let's take a
We had a
look at.
quick
We're almost done
question.
here. Yeah.
Let me,
Any
yeah, while we
questions? Go
wait for,
ahead.
yeah, let me. So Christian is asking, would region 3 with the background setting go in front of region 2? And I did play with this a little bit to kind of understand how the regions are going to layer on top of each other. And I think it starts from 1 to 9 or 1 to 10 or whatever. And the lower the number, the lower the layer level, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah. So you want to build
But
up
you want
like,
to build it up.
yeah.
Yeah. But in the end, it all gets blended anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
so let's,
here, like this
oh,
one is probably the best one, funny enough. But like I would probably just outpaint the top, replace it. Um, this one's okay, but again, a little perspective issue. This one is sort of blended into the building, right? Which is exactly what I kind of wanted to avoid. Same with this one. They're sort of similar in that sense. So it does take a lot of different seeds. And what I would have to do, actually, we could do this, right? I would take this one, go to region 2, and take the seed. So now we have our mech seed. We like that one. So then we just do the sky. We'll just run one, and then we'll call it good. So this way, as you're adding layers, it does take longer and longer to run it. But if you start from the bottom, building up, locking in the seed that you like, um, it can be a really effective process for composition. Um,
And a bonus too is you can save that config and load it again later.
mhm.
So you'd be able to, go set up your composition for something that you really that you're, excited to run, and then come back to it with a different prompt later if you want. If you get all of those regions all looking good and feeling right, then you can, save your work and bring it back in, which is great. Um, Christian also asked another question. What's the point of having the background and the foreground then? Well, the background, I mean, you need a background. You need something back there. I don't know what would happen if you had two backgrounds, but maybe you could have like the sun. You could say like
We're trying
sun,
it now.
clouds, and then, you know, mountainous pasture or something. And they could all be backgrounds. And then foregrounds, maybe there is a separation between background and foreground where you have background one, two, three, and then foreground then comes in after that. We're gonna have to test that. We've been testing this for a few hours, playing around with it for a couple weeks now. The jury's still out. I like to say that with everything, that the jury's always still out. There's so much to discover with these tools. I mean, how long have we had ControlNet out for? What, February, March?
Yeah.
And just recently we have this amazing QR code workflow that everyone's obsessed about. I mean, that's how long it takes for people to kind of dig down into these tools and realize, oh, hey, look, here's this use case.
Yeah, so
Um,
here's the final image we've got. It actually turned out great.
that turned
Like,
out
look at
pretty
that
good.
sky. I will say I want to try this. So mixture of diffusers generally runs a bit better. And let's try it as the foreground and see how it goes. We've got one last one, and then I'll hand it over to you. Um, I like the like haze, the fog. This mech looks a little weird, so we might try a different mech one. But the main tools you have are locking in those seeds and changing the prompts for each region to get the result that you want.
Brilliant. Oh,
Awesome.
it looks good. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
good. We
yeah.
got that
This looks.
floating building again. But
Kind of. It looks like it's just
yeah,
on fire and maybe crashing, but the perspective's definitely better. And again, this is all fine-tunable stuff, right? And the robot's better. So I like that result. And this is something where you could also clean it up when you go to image, right? Hey everyone, thanks for watching our video on region prompt control with multi-diffusion, also called tiled diffusion. It was really fun recording from Community Day. I wanted to show off a little something here that we got. This is on Comfy UI. I'm using SDXL, and whoa, crazy results. I just had to run our prompt through SDXL to see how it looked. This is a image to image workflow on Comfy UI. We got a lot of fun things coming up on RunDiffusion with SDXL, with some new platforms. So please stay tuned. We hope to see you at the next Community Day. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.